Let's practice English with this current news. Here you see the headline: Vietnamese tycoon loses death row appeal over world's biggest bank fraud. I'm talking about this Vietnamese, and she is a tycoon. Tycoon means the richest woman, richest person, millions of billions of dollars she has, and she has lost death row. That was appeal over world's biggest bank fraud. So she was in a snafu situation. She is now in deep waters. She cannot move away. She tried to get it over, but she couldn't. The appeal was rejected. She is world's biggest bank fraud. Can you imagine? The frauder is the noun. She was involved in world's biggest bank robbery or fraudery. So here you see Vietnamese. So Vietnam is a country, Asian country, and Vietnam is property tycoon. So she has a lot of property tycoon. Truong My Lan. She has lost her appeal. She appealed against her death sentence for masterminding the world's biggest bank fraud. Masterminding. She was the most important person, and she was sentenced to death sentence. So she wanted to get rid of this death sentence. So she appealed, but the appeal was rejected. It's because she was involved and she was the mastermind lady, and it was for the world's biggest bank fraud. And what is her age? Can you guess? She is 68 years old. How old are you? I am 51 years old, but how old are you? 68-year-old. She is now in a race for her life, because the law in Vietnam states that if she can pay back 75% of what she took, her sentence will be commuted to life imprisonment. Can you imagine? From the death sentence to life imprisonment she can get if she pays back 75% of the money that she has laundered. That's a huge amount of money. If she owes to the bank $1 billion, she has to pay 75% of the total amount of money. Imprisonment, prisoner. When she has been in the prison, she is a prisoner. And imprisonment, that is the sentence, and it is life imprisonment. In April, that is 8 months ago, what happened? The trial court found that Truong My Lan had secretly controlled Saigon Commercial Bank, the country's 5th biggest lender, and taken out loans and cash over more than 10 years through a wave of shell companies. It amounts to a total of $44 billion. That is 34.5 billion pounds. Pounds more expensive than dollar, That's why it is equivalent to $44 billion. So 34.5 billion pounds is equal to 44 billion pounds. If of that, prosecutors say $27 billion was misappropriated, has been cheated, misappropriated, has been used for some other way, not the legal way, and $12 billion was judged to have been embezzled, cheated, has been taken away, has been criminalized. The most serious financial, American people, British people, they pronounce differently, financial or financial crime, for which she was sentenced to death. It is a capital punishment. Death sentence is a capital punishment. In most of the Western countries, death sentence is not given. And in Bangladesh, in these countries, in Asian countries, you have the largest sentence to death. But in Western world, they usually give the most powerful sentences, life imprisonment. It was a rare and shocking verdict. So the judgment when came out, that is called verdict. This is the result of the justice, that is verdict. And the verdict was rare, very uncommon, very rare, at the same time very shocking. And she is one of very few women in Vietnam to be sentenced to death for a white collar crime. So this is a white collar crime. If you go to a house and steal things, that's not white collar. But she was not in the bank, she was not touching the money, she was doing nothing, she was away, but she was involved in the corruption in the bank forgery. That's why it's a crime, and this crime has been sentenced to death for a white collar crime. And on Tuesday, the court said there was no basis to reduce Truong My Lan's death sentence. However, she could still avoid execution. Death sentence is there, but unless somebody is killed, it's not executed. So when death sentence is given and he or she is killed, then that is execution. So when you perform something, that is execution. So executive officer, that's good, but sentence to death has been executed, means the person sentenced to death has been already killed. If she returns $9 billion, 3/4 of the $12 billion she embezzled. So she embezzled how much money? $12 billion. Can you imagine? So much money. And if $9 billion she pays, she will get the verdict changed from death sentence to life imprisonment. It's not her final appeal, and she can still petition the president for amnesty. Amnesty is the pardon. If president is applied for amnesty, if the president agrees, that is amnesty. So if that is pardon, right? Somebody has been pardoned, amnesty. During her trial, Truong My Lan was sometimes defiant, but in the recent hearing for her appeal against the sentence, she was more contrite. So can you imagine? Initially, she was very much defiant. She was bold enough. She did not care. She thought that she would be quite away from the justice. She was defiant. She was boast. She was not that much submissive. But here now she is more submissive, contrite. She is now weak. She understands that she cannot avert her death sentence. It's very difficult for her. She said she was embarrassed to have been such a drain on the state, and that her only thought was to pay back what she had taken. She was born into a Sino-Vietnamese family in Ho Chi Minh City. Truong My Lan started as a market stall vendor. She sold cosmetics with her mother. She began buying land and property after the Communist Party introduced economic reform in 1986. By 1990s, she owned a large portfolio of hotels and restaurants. So much. When she was convicted and sentenced in April, she was the chairwoman of a prominent real estate firm, Banting Pat Group. It was a dramatic moment in the Blazing Furnaces anti-corruption campaign led by then Communist Party Secretary General Nguyen Phu Trong. All of the remaining 85 defendants were convicted. 4 were sentenced to life in jail, while the rest, including Truong My Lan's husband and niece, were given prison terms ranging from 20 to 3 years suspended. The State Bank of Vietnam is believed to have spent many billions of dollars recapitalizing Saigon Commercial Bank to prevent a wider banking panic. The prosecutors argued that her crimes were huge and without precedent, and that not justify leniency. Truong My Lan's lawyer said she was working as fast as she could to find the $9 billion needed, but cashing in her assets has proven difficult. Some luxury properties in Ho Chi Minh City, which could in theory be sold quite quickly, others are in the form of shares or stakes in other businesses or property projects. In all, the state has identified more than 1,000 different assets linked to the fraud. These have been frozen by the authorities for now. The BBC understands the tycoon has now reached out to friends to raise loans for her to help reach the target. Please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.